Welcome to Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is probably one of the most interesting chapters that you'll find in the text because it deals with sort of the uh, behavioral aspects that inform our decisions in advertising. Okay, so here's kind of a way to think about this as you read through this particular chapter, that the foundations of consumer behavior for integrated marketing communications. And that is, if you can figure out why or understand why somebody wants something, that can inform or persuade or tell you the things that you need to say in order to make the appeal to the target market for your product via advertising to be effective. So it's directly understanding why people want what they want. Now remember, there's always two sides to this from marketing. That is the business to consumer or the retail world, which all of us are familiar with, and the business to business world, which means professional buyers buying things. Both are equally important, but they're slightly different in their application. But let's just talk about consumer behavior for now and kind of get that introduced to you. So here's the learning objectives. As you go through this, again, my overview here is not a substitute for you reading the chapter. You'll want to read the chapter very carefully and then do the discussion for it and the quiz, and then the next chapter as well, and so on and so forth. So always remember, it's up to you to read this, because this is going to also set you up to be successful for the test at midterm. Okay, so there are learning objectives. Take a peek at those. Creating utility. Sometimes you'll see this word utility used in economics. You'll for sure hear it or read it in other business writing, but utility is just a short way to say, or a different way to say, value. Okay, it's not the utility as in electric utilities that we pay for, or water. This is the utility as in value. Now, we value water and electricity for sure because they're incredibly valuable, but this is specific to those things that a product offers us that we're willing to pay for. That's what, in a commercial sense or a business sense, that's what value means. If I'm not willing to pay for it, it doesn't have a value to me. Okay, so the more we can understand of what's truly important to the target market or the consumer, the more we can align or express how our product meets those value desires. So for example, Apple's ads here, they speak to consumers because consumers want the idea of green. Now, whatever you might think about that or what it is, because there's no set definition, but environmentally friendly, so on and so forth. If that's important, to your target market, it's important to you, and you should figure out a way to express that. Okay, so it's as simple as that, but it's as complex as that because it's not always readily apparent what exactly is going on there. So creating successful exchanges, the exchange, which is the purchase. Okay, and this is why price is so important. How much am I willing to pay for a green product? Am I willing to pay twice what it would cost for a less green product? Well, I don't know. That might be a big leap given people's budgets and who you're trying to sell to. If you're trying to sell to the premium market, then price is less of an issue. If you're selling to a more budget-conscious target market, then that's a different story. So these are relative statements given. It's sort of like tuning in a radio station on a radio or creating that frequency that most speaks to the desires of that target market. Okay, and this is very much a marketing prospect or idea when we talk about satisfying that. So perception is everything. Now, perception is not necessarily reality. Okay, but it doesn't really matter, because if you and I perceive something as valuable or more valuable than something else, that's all that, in a sense, really matters. I mean, facts may or may not persuade. I mean, they should, you would think. But if you for example, if you dislike eating carrots, no amount of facts about how good they are for you is going to make you like carrots all of a sudden. You have a perception that carrots give you bad breath or something. whatever that might be. We can't, it's hard to undo that. So perception is everything. We want to, and when we talk about brands and the idea of reputation, the perception of the reputation is all powerful. I mean, all of you listening to this have a reputation at work. So we'll stick with that. And I'm no doubt that all of you are the most highly desired teammate, worker, because of your initiative, the quality of your work, your attention to detail, so on and so forth. Once that perception is out there, you want to maintain that. The opposite is equally true. If there's a perception that you are not those quality things, then the value, what you can ask for, or your brand or reputation is going to diminish in value. So we want to create a perceived equal value exchange, or better yet, we want to create a value exchange that is in excess of what we have to give for it. Okay, so that's, as you read through this, consider those things. And then it goes into, I'm just going to skip down here a little ways, the ad appeal. What's it doing for you? What are we trying to communicate? And they might be subtle, or they might be pretty over the top. Remember, we got to catch people's attention too. So this is a one-way form of communication mostly, even though social media can have a two-way effect. When we design ads and when we create ads, we're thinking in ways that we're going to cut through the noise in the marketplace, the static, the things that interfere with being understood, and we try to reach into a person's mind, soul, heart, and say, we've got something of value for it. It's going to appeal to you because it's designed to appeal. So that's the connection to advertising. So we've got information ads, who participates in this product, more marketers do. Consumer behavior, the key to IMC strategy. Okay, so, and this is how far that I'm going to go in this, because as you read through this, you'll see quite a bit more about this in greater detail. And remember, at the first page when you log in, you'll see all the PowerPoints, and the PowerPoints have speaker notes. You might want to read through those too to help you sort of understand the chapter before you dive into it. It might make you more efficient. But consumer behavior, the mental, emotional processes, physical activities of people who purchase and use goods and services to satisfy needs and wants. Okay, organizational buyers, that's the B2B world. Okay, that's a little bit different because we're dealing with professional buyers. But again, we're trying to communicate value. In order to communicate value, we need to first understand what the target market values. So when marketers create a product, smart marketers will have that in mind as they create it. Okay, so carefully read this chapter. I think you'll enjoy it. You might have to read it a couple times, but there's a wealth of information in here to help you better understand that communication. And when you go out in the world or you listen to ads, you can maybe better pick out or pick up on what they're trying to communicate. So have a great one, and if you need help, please let me know.